Good day everyone, I am Antoinette G. Batillas. For today, we will going to discuss or tackle the Guide 10, which is entitled the Tpack Framework Explained with Classroom Examples. Let's start with the short introduction of Tpack Framework. Tpack is a technology integration framework that identifies the three types of knowledge instructors. So, the three types of knowledge instructors are the technological, pedagogical, and content knowledge or aka Tpack. And the next, Tpack is compared with SAMR model. They are different in scope. Later, we will going to discuss the difference of these frameworks in more depth. Let's proceed to the what is the Tpack framework all about. Tpack framework was introduced by Punaya Mashera and Matthew J. Coeller of Michigan State University in 2006. And of course, they identified three primary forms of knowledge. First is the content knowledge or CK, second pedagogical knowledge or PK, and the last is the technological knowledge or TK. So when we say content knowledge or the CK, it refers to the facts, concepts, theories, and principles that are taught and learned in specific academic courses rather than to related skills such as reading, writing, or researching that students also learn in schools. And then next is the pedagogical knowledge or the PK. It refers to the specialized knowledge of teachers for creative teaching and learning environments for all students. And then the last is the technological knowledge or the TK. It describes researchers' knowledge of the ability to use various technologies or technological tools and associated resources. Tpack represents a full understanding of how to teach with technology. But the point of Tpack is to understand how to use technology to teach concepts in a way that enhances the students' learning experiences. And the next, in an adequate display of both content and technical knowledge, it is not enhancing the learning experiences. However, it could be represented in more interactive and engaging digital mediums. Example, the video, class discussion, game, and etc. When you knew how to make that happen via your LMS, you just leveled up to technical content knowledge or the TCK. Tpack has also a purpose. Tpack or the technological pedagogical content knowledge is a model that helps teachers consider how their knowledge domains intersect in order to effectively teach and engage students with technology.
Key differences between the Tpack and SAMR tech integration frameworks. As mentioned before, the SAMR modified is quite different from Tpack, and because more education know about SAMR, it's worth taking a few moments to address how they are different and the implication they have to your instructional strategy.
So why is Tpack is important? Most of the instructors, administrators is recognize that technology is beneficial for those students that use technology because they are preparing students for technology-driven world or helping to simplify course, school, and district management. But too many view technology as a silver bullet to the challenge they face. It's sometimes assumed, consciously or not, that the mere presence of digital tools will improve education. So Tpack framework is very important because it is enhance the strategy of our teachers to enhance learning of your students. But Tpack show that there is a relationship between technology, content, pedagogy, and the purposeful blending of them is K. And also, Tpack can be helpful to you to step back and look back at your whole strategy and dance connection between all of its moving parts. And also, according to the researchers, Tpack framework enhances features candidates' ability to use technology in their learning and later on in their professions. So according to Dr. Durit, students should engage in collaborative learning and develop the concept of digital pedagogies. Digital pedagogies may be the concept that can encompasses all example, teaching approach, student attitudes, and desired learning outcomes, and also the framework should also be used to develop new forms of professionally development.
So, let's proceed to an example of how to incorporate the Tpack framework in your classroom. So, now that you know what the Tpack framework is and why it's important, let's look at how it can be applied in the classroom. This example will show us how can we use technological pedagogical content knowledge to enhance a lesson. So imagine, you are a 7th grade life sciences teacher. The topic is cell anatomy of animal cells and explain how the organelles work as a system to carry out the necessary functions of the cell. So here's are the traditional strategies or activities might go as follow. First is walk through the cell's anatomy in the basic functions of each organelle, referencing the diagram in the textbook. Second is break the class into small group. Task each group with a labeling their own diagram of cell anatomy and researching a single process to present to the class later on. You may want to choose the process for them to avoid duplicate presentation. Have each group present the cell process they research to the class.
Hi everyone, I am Arnel Binosa and this is the continuation of the Tpack framework explained with classroom examples, which is the applying technological, pedagogical content knowledge to your lesson. Applying technological, pedagogical content knowledge to your lesson. As mentioned before, the Tpack framework is based on the 3 primary forms of knowledge. So, your first step should be understand your primary forms of knowledge in the context of this lesson. Content knowledge, or the CK. What are you teaching and what is your own knowledge of the subject? For this lesson, you'll need a solid understanding of cell anatomy and processes. Content knowledge generally refers to the facts, concepts, theories, and principles that are taught and learned in specific academic courses, rather than to related skills such as reading, writing, or researching.
Pedagogical college or PK. How do your students learn best and what instructional strategies do you need to meet their needs and the requirements of the lesson plan? In this case, you need to understand best practices for teaching, middle school, science, and small group of collaboration. Pedagogical knowledge. Pedagogy is the relationship between learning techniques and culture. It is determined based on an education beliefs about how learning takes place. Pedagogy requires meaningful classroom interaction between educators and learners.
Technological knowledge, or the TK. What digital tools are available to you? Which do you know well enough to use and which would be most appropriate for the lesson at hand? For this lesson, students will need to label a diagram and present, so the ability to fill in blank with an answer key, find images from the internet, create slides, etc. are important.
Pedagogical content knowledge or PCK, understanding the best practices for teaching specific content to your specific students. Technological content knowledge or TCK, knowing how the digital tools available to you can enhance or transform the content, how it divides students, and how your students can interact with it. Technological pedagogical knowledge or TPK, understanding how to use digital tools as a vehicle to the learning outcomes and experiences you want.
The technological pedagogical content knowledge is best applied in the study of reading skills. Teachers need to master the TPCK in order to create an effective learning environment which more form and engaging to enhance the creativity, innovation, and stimulation of the students. Broad benefits of the Tpack framework. You don't have to go all with the Tpack to gain something from it, whether you apply it to every lesson or revisit it from time to time. This framework can help you to think more strategically about how you are using technology in classroom. You may be surprised at what your lesson and strategies can become through the meticulously throughout lens of the Tpack framework.